Okay, guys, I'm just trying to wait until you all get in. Oh, I don't think I'm watching this live. So I want to make sure I put my chat up on the computer so that I could see you guys. Let me see. Try this again. Hello, 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 everyone. I hope you got your pen and pads ready. We are going to go in depth with making labels, and I'm even going to touch on branding with that, because with branding comes, you know, the feeling, the aesthetic, and its consistency. So let's see. All right, so I could just leave it like that so I could follow the chat. And then I'm going to show you in Maestro how to do your labels. And I'm also going to show you how to use your Silhouette Cricut. I always feel like I'm saying it wrong. Your Silhouette or your Cricut machine to cut your labels. And I'm also going to give tips and pointers if you're using glossy labels. Hello from the UK. Hi, Zaza. I'm going to give you tricks and tips on how to put your paper. I'm sorry, I'm tongue-tied again. How to put your glossy papers into the Silhouette machine without it messing up on you. So we're just waiting for everybody to get in. If you want to share this video, please do so. Tell your friends, anybody who's interested in learning how to make labels, send them in. And let's begin. And this class will tie into, hi Kara, this class is going to tie into yesterday's class on how to make foiled labels. So you guys said that you were interested in learning how to create your labels. So this is the class that we're going to do today. I'm going to show you how I design my labels. I'm going to show you how I cut them. I'm also going, like I said, I'm going to tie in some branding into it, because there are some elements of your label that has to stay consistent. Hi Kylo. And there's some things about your labels that need to stay consistent. So that's why we're going to touch on branding. It's not like a big branding class, but it's just about the aesthetic, and it's just about the continuity. So hey Martiniki. So that's basically what I'm going to show you today. I'm not going to go into like stickers or anything like that, you know, as far as die cut stickers or anything. I'm just going to, this is basically for your products. Can you recommend which labels you love best, like Avery or online labels? My favorite is labelsbythesheet.com. I like labelsbythesheet.com because like the clear labels that I use, they're a little thicker. Hey Nubian Sunshine. They're a little bit thicker, so I like the clear labels from online labels. I mean Labels by the Sheet best, but onlinelabels.com has more variety. Avery also has a lot of variety. So yeah, let me show you real fast. Avery has a lot of variety too, so you can pick matte, shiny, craft paper, all kinds of labels. Like, it's just a preference on who gives you, and this is what we were talking about yesterday, right? About who has the better price. So it goes with that too. So I'm gonna go right here, and I'm going to go, let me lift this up a little bit. This right here is my camera. I cover it, and I took a Grant Cardone class, and he said make sure you put this somewhere. And the thing is, I don't know everything, so you can always learn. So that's what I have up on my computer. Now I'm going to go to labelsbythesheet.com, And you can go here and order your labels. So they have white gloss, water resistant. I don't like their water resistant labels because they're kind of matte. It doesn't have a nice sheen, so I don't buy my water resistant labels from here. I do like my water resistant labels from onlinelabels.com. So I have quite a few places where I like to purchase my labels depending on the quality and depending what I need at the time. So we have the water resistance, we have the clear, and I like the clear gloss. The clear gloss inkjet that they used to have was amazing because it used to print the color on it. And if it printed the color, you didn't have to worry about it smearing. It didn't smear. Their clear labels are very good for not smearing. I'm lost with labeling. This is so on point. All right, so whatever questions you have, just let me know. Is that thunder? Okay, so yeah, so you got craft textured paper. I do like their craft paper. It has nice, like, the little threads inside, or the hairs, whatever you call it, inside the craft paper, so you get to see that. I like that. They have colors. You can get the pastel. I've never purchased the colors, so I don't know if it looks like regular copy paper. I'm not sure. So that's what we have here. And then they have specialty sheets, so you can do like hang tags, soap wraps, business cards, postcards, paper, and you could do that here. But if you go to, I'm trying not to be so long-winded, but you guys let me know if I'm talking too much. Online labels, you have, let's see, you can pick the materials on online labels, and online labels have the program that I use to design my labels. So I design in this right here, Maestro Label Designer, because to me it's the simplest. And I also like Avery. I like Canva, but sometimes when I transfer my Canva label into my Silhouette to cut it, it is a little blurry. So either I do it on Maestro so it's nice and crisp, or sometimes I'll even design the label in Silhouette. Let me see. Yes, Martiniki, for your stickers and stuff. I don't know where you purchase your sticker paper from, but they have some really good deals here. So here are their labels as well. And like I said, the different companies seem to have different quality labels. Like I said, the clear labels that online labels have is a little bit thinner than the ones that Labels by the Sheet has. So the Labels by the Sheet one, when I do my foiling, that's the clear labels I like to use for foiling. I go to labelsbythesheet.com. For regular labels, I go to onlinelabels.com. They kind of work out to be the same price. They ship just as fast. I wouldn't doubt it that they're both the same company. So those are the places where I get my labels. And if you get over 100, like, if you get bulk discounts. If you get over 100, you can get your labels for like 49 cents a sheet. If you get more than that, you can get them for cheaper than that. Wow, thank you very much, because I missed it. There it goes. Wow, thank you very much, because I've been so scared to branch out to a new label because I was so confused. Oh no, we're going to answer all your questions right now. We're going to have you labeling your products like a pro. Okay, so I'm going to, I had notes because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. I want to give you everything, and I don't want to do a part 2. So we'll probably be a little while here. But again, this is free game to help you get your game up, to level up your game, level up your products, level up your experience. So with that said, any questions you have, let's ask them now before I get into it, because then I don't have to come back and keep repeating the same thing for people that come in later. So if anybody has any question or anything that they would like for me to address, please put it in the chat box right now so that I can address them immediately. Are you labeling products? Are you labeling, like, what kind of products are you labeling? Bath and body products, soaps, candles, items, objects? What are you labeling? Okay. I'm going to turn it over. I'm super, super close. All right, Martiniki, because I love you. All right, so candles for me. And Zaza, do you like your candles with clear labels, or it doesn't matter? Do you have a preference? Do you have a template for custom warning labels? I don't have a template, but you can go to anywhere that sells them, or you can actually look up the templates on Google, and you'll be able to copy and paste what they have there. I'm trying to see if I have a candle near me, and I don't have a candle, but I do have my warning labels. I just copied and pasted onto the label that I'm using on the size. I use the size 1.5. I use a size 1.5 or 2, depending on my candle jar size, and I put all the relevant information in there. So let me see. Where's my candle labels? I think I have it in Word. Do I? Oh, I think I even have it in Maestro. So all my labels are in Maestro. I put them there, and depending on what's the sizing, like my circle labels, I use the regular circle labels, but if they're square or something like that, I cut them myself, and it saves on shipping, and it not saves on shipping, it saves on the quantity of products you have. You know what I mean? So you don't have a million types of labels. You can just do one. Yes, I have a silhouette. I don't know how to use a Cricut because I don't have one. I had 2 silhouette cameos. I had the cameo number 2 and the 3. I really like the 3. I don't know the difference between the Cricut besides the mat. Let me see. Okay. I'm going to flip the camera around. And here is my warning label that I have in online Maestro. This is what I had in there before, but I took all this stuff out because I needed to have the right cut lines. You know what I mean? So I took that off so I can keep in my parameters. But this is what I use. So can I zoom in? I can. All right, so there you go. This is my warning label for my candle. And you can just basically look on Google and you can get that, copy and paste it, and put it on the circle or whatever size, whatever shape label you're using. How do you keep the label simple? I'm interested primarily for candles, body and beard oils. I'm going to get into that. Yes, I have that in my notes, so I'm definitely going to address that one. And let me see. Just trying to make sure. Okay, so I have that in my notes. Kara, do you have your notebook and pen ready? More so a branding question. Do you make your own thank you candle care postcards? No, I got my candle care cards. I got them done in Vistaprint because I have a nice glossy finish. It's nice and crisp. And I definitely use Vistaprint when it's a sale. Like if I can get 60% off of Vistaprint, that's when I print everything that I need. That's when I print my thank you cards for my customers, my business cards, my candle care cards, my skincare cards. Whenever I see that they have a sale, that's when I take advantage of that 60% off. Can you use Avery blank labels with your designs? Oh yeah, definitely. You can use you could get your labels from anywhere and print them exactly the same as long as your labels are compatible with your printer. So if you are using inkjet labels, you have to use an inkjet printer. If you're using a laser printer, I mean a laser label, you need to use a laser printer. So as long as you do that part, everything else works together. Is interchangeable. As far as glossy labels, because somebody had asked me before, can you only put foil on matte labels because it doesn't really adhere to glossy labels? It does adhere to the glossy labels, you just have to finesse it a little more. So that means you have to put your laminator up a little bit and let it go through. But it does work on glossy labels, and it works fine on glossy labels. You also may come into a problem with your glossy labels putting it into the silhouette machine, because the shine of the labels, I guess, confuse the sensor, and so it doesn't pick up the registration marks. So I have a tip that I'm going to share with you guys today on how to get your registration marks recognized, so that it doesn't get, you know, the glare of the glossy label doesn't confuse the sensor, so it can cut properly. Because if it doesn't cut properly, you're going to waste so much paper, and I've wasted so much good paper. Like, I have like vinyl sticker paper, and I wasted so much of that because of the glare on the vinyl paper. Okay, I don't use, okay, for the Avery labels, you have to play with it a little bit, because you can do that in Word and you can do it with Maestro, but sometimes the labels do not match up, so their margins may be different, and if the margins are different, it's not going to print the same, even if the label looks like it's the same. If the margin is even off by a couple of centimeters or whatever is measured in, it's not going to print it out correctly. And so what you would have to do is figure out how much space that you can actually use within that label to make the adjustment for the new label for the label from Avery or whatever other company. That's why I like to use just one sticker sheet, because if you use one sticker sheet, you can customize it any way you want, cut that out any way you want. Doesn't matter if it lines up or not, because all it needs to do is print out on your one sheet of paper. So let's see. I get my labels from Online Labels Only, but I will be ordering from that company, because I will be foiling the new labels I will be making. Yes, and the clear labels from Labels by the Sheet, like I said, they're thicker. That's my concern, Kara. Avery designs barely line up. Yes, they do. You have to get the is it the print to edge or whatever with the Avery? So I like I said, I like the plain flat sheet with nothing on it. Oh yeah, you waste a lot of paper, and I'm telling you, I had vinyl, the nice glossy vinyl labels, and I think I wasted like 20 or more sheets just trying to figure out why my labels are not lining up. So you don't want to do that. So this is what this class is all about. This class is all about figuring it all out, so that, you know, it could eliminate the hassle when you're trying to do it, and the frustration, because you could get extremely frustrated trying to line up your labels, and while you're wasting product that costs a lot of money. Like, vinyl labels are not cheap at all. Yes, Maestro is very user friendly. It's super easy to use, and that's why I choose that over PicMonkey, because PicMonkey, like I said, is closer to like Photoshop, and I'm not that graphically equipped in depth. What is it? Adept. Let's see. I always feel that my labels are too busy. Yes, I have a Cricut. I can do that. Thank you. I thought I was crazy. Absolutely. I am so ready to receive your cross. Okay. So I have my notes. Martiniki knows if I don't have my notes, I'm going to skip something. So I'm not going to skip anything. So first, let's go into branding. Okay, what do you use to cut circle labels from a full sticker sheet? You can cut your circles in the Silhouette or the Cameo. Yeah, you can cut them in the Silhouette or Cameo as long as you outline your shape, and we're going to go into that too. I'm going to outline the shape. I don't know if I'm going to save this live, because this live is probably going to be pretty detailed and long. trying to figure out if I should use my name. Okay. So Nubian Sunshine, you don't have a logo yet? Or what are you using as far as your logo? Okay, so while I wait for Nubian Sunshine to answer, I'm going to address a few things about the branding. Now, we're not going to go into a whole situation about branding. We're just going to go into being, aesthetically pleasing and cohesive and consistent. Just the name of my company. So, do you have a particular font? In a certain font. So the font that you use, you can just leave it just like that if that's what you want to do. If you feel that that is something that's going to be timeless for your brand, then go ahead and keep your name in the font, but that font has to carry over into everything else that you do. Okay, so let's talk about branding. Branding is, a lot of people say, I'm rebranding. If you look on YouTube, a lot of people have videos and everybody is saying, I was rebranding. And they didn't rebrand anything. They just revamped the look. You know what I mean? They just changed a few things. That doesn't mean that that's anything to do with your branding. You just changed the look. So now you have a different look, not a new brand. Your brand the purpose of your brand is to give people a feeling. It's the feeling that people feel when they see your product. It's the thing that they connect to you with. Your branding is a connection to your customer, that if they pick it up, they know that this is yours because A, B, and C. Your branding is about your beliefs, your mission, the things that you want your brand to have the feeling of. That's what branding is. Not just a look, not just colors, not just logos, not just, I'm rebranding my whole business and they change the logo and colors and things like that. That's not a rebranding. So if you're not changing your values of your company, then you're not rebranding, you're revamping. So with that being said, there are some things with your branding that you need to be consistent, because you want your customers to always know that it's who, your brand is this, XYZ. Everything looks consistent and cohesive because you do these things. Now, my branding is let me see. Okay, a fancy B. Your company's name is not Nubian Sunshine? So yeah, so it's a feeling. It's the feeling that you want people to feel. Like when I first started, I wanted it to be bubbly and fun and colorful. But as the brand grew, I wanted it to have a more sophisticated, a more classic, a more timeless feel. So I changed my logo 3 times. So the first time I had my logo was too busy. I had a font that was it was a very beautiful script font, but it did not translate well on labels. It did not translate well when you scaled it down. It looks big on a banner. It looks really good, but it did not look good on a small label. I couldn't put that logo on a product this small because you couldn't see what it was. You couldn't read my name that I had in there, and I had to change it because when you sell it, you want people to exactly know what it is. Yes, I had the 2 ducks, and the 2 ducks make, that's what Bubble Babes is. The Bubble Babes is the 2 ducks. But if you can't understand what the rest is, anybody could have put 2 rubber ducks together, and that could have been anything. So you have to have something that's going to make it stand out. So that's number 1. Make sure that your fonts that you use are legible. Make sure that you can read them if they're big or if they're small. Make sure they look good if you have them on the banner or poster or whatever. You always want to make sure that no matter what size your logo is or your font is, that it is, you can read it wherever it is. Oh, okay. Byron doesn't like your logo. I like your logo. I think it's like, it's cute and whimsy. But it doesn't have like, it's not all busy, and that's good. So we went into the way that your logo should read, right? So you should make sure that your font is clear, legible. Whether you're scaling up, scaling down, it still looks good, right? Your color scheme. Make sure you stay within your color scheme. And I'm going to be doing a lot of the live classes, but I want you guys to take a little nugget away from it. I want you to take what you learn, and I want you to take it even higher. I want you to go even further, and I want you to put a little spin on it, because I don't mind giving information, I don't mind sharing information, but as soon as you copy the same exact thing, and I feel like, you just blatantly copied anything that I do, it kind of like, it's like, sis, like, come on, come up with something, like put a little spin on it. I don't mind giving you the jewels, but you're gonna have to put some edge on it, so that's that. So your color scheme, make sure that stays the same. So make sure you love it. Don't come up with something and you loved it for that moment. It's got to be something that's going to go with you forever. My name, as far as I am on YouTube, when I was on YouTube, my name was Nikki26. That name is not my real name, but that name carries with me everywhere I go. So you got to make sure it's something that you're not embarrassed about, that you don't mind. If somebody took a picture of it, it still looks good, and they still know that it's you. So you got to make sure that it's something that you love, and it's something that you believe in. You have to believe in it, because when you talk about it, when you talk about your brand, you want that passion to come out. You want the reason why. They say, what is your why? You want your why to be amazing. You want to hear, people want to hear the passion in your why. Everybody loves a story, and you got to be able to take your story and make it come, blend in with your brand. Hi, the essence of beauty. You want to make sure that your passion, your brand, the story, all of that comes through in what you say. There's nothing worse than somebody who's trying to sell you some bullshit, and you're like, are you serious? Like, the story doesn't even make sense, or it's just too much. You want to make sure that your story is true to you. So no matter where you tell it, you don't have to remember it later down the line. Your story is authentic to you always. So that's what you want to make sure of. So you make sure that your story and your brand come together. You have to find a happy medium and make them mesh together, and they have to love each other, hand in hand. Also, I also want to touch on your aesthetic. You want to make sure that your labels are consistent. I had such a hard time with colors. One thing I need to work on is a mission statement, but I'm not so good with words. Well, if you're not good with words, you can also Fiverr. They have people that do that. Like, listen, do not waste time on things that you're not good at. If you have to hire out, then hire out. So Fiverr, you can tell somebody your story or something, and they can write it. I have a writer in-house. She could write you a mission statement. You could tell her what you want to say, and she could put the words together eloquently. So, if you're not good at that, then find somebody to do it, because you don't want to waste time trying to come up with something, or waste time doing something that you're not good at, and it's taking you longer, and it takes away from your mission. It takes away from what you're trying to do or you're trying to accomplish. So you want to make sure that you don't waste time doing those things. I'm not great at doing graphics. I know I could do simple labels, so I do my simple labels. But when it comes time to something that is more professional, more polished, and something that is my staple product, like this is one of my staple products. This is my Brush Me Off soap. And this label I get professionally done. I got it professionally designed, and I get it professionally printed, and it has a special laminate on top, so that it doesn't scratch, and it doesn't, because the labels that I did have that I made myself, when people would wet them, they would smear. They would have scratch marks on it. It did not look pretty when people put it in the video. So you also want to keep that in mind. So this label right here, and if you know that you need a lot of them, then go ahead and get them professionally done. So like I said, this is not what I'm good at. So I don't do this part. So you want to make sure that you have time to, stay creative, stay stay doing the things that you want to do, because you can get burnt out doing this really, really fast. And that's a lot of things, a lot of times with new business owners, they get burnt out pretty quickly because they're trying to wear all the hats at one time. And a lot of, let's say something takes more time than something else, and you spent, let's say, a week trying to figure out how to make a label, when you could have just paid somebody $100 and something, got that label done. You don't get that time back. You know what I mean? You get it in experience, but you don't get that time back. So you might as well let somebody go ahead and do that, so you could be creative, so you can make more candles, you can make more soaps, you can come up with more concepts, more ideas, more whatever. You can get advertising, whatever it is that you need to do. You want to make sure that you spend the time that you're good at doing those things, and hire out for somebody else. Do not be cheap and say, I don't need to hire anybody. I could do this myself. This person did it this way, I could do it that way. Everybody is not the same, and everybody don't learn the same. So if you want to be successful and you want to stop yourself from burning out, if you have to hire out, then hire out. I'm not saying hire the person with the largest cost. Find somebody that's within your budget and can help you out. Or maybe you can barter with somebody. Maybe somebody will want your product for a service that they can provide, or maybe somebody will want, you can do something for somebody else and they can provide that service. So you want to do stuff like that. So keep that in mind. You don't necessarily have to pay the highest cost in order to get the job done. You can find somebody within your budget, and you also can find somebody that you can barter with. So that's that. Let me see what you guys are saying. I had a hard time with colors. I like the tan and the turquoise, Martiniki. Yes, script is really, really hard. And I love script, especially those ornamental scripts, those nice wedding type scripts, but it does not translate to your labels. And it may translate to something bigger, like maybe a bigger candle or a bigger label, but when that label is smaller, it doesn't. And you don't want to lose the look with that. Okay, so also within your branding, you also want to know who your customer is. You want to know who your person is, what she's wearing, what she's watching, what stores she shops in, what scents do she like, what is she doing? Is she a mom? Is she going to school? Is she a boss babe? You want to know who your person is that is buying from you. Your person cannot be everybody. You're not selling to everybody. You have to find who you are working, who you want to sell to, and you have to sell to them. Or if that person is just you, then you have to sell to you. You have to know, okay, I don't like when people come at me this way, so let me come at them this way, and let me show them this is what let me show them shop this way, or stuff like that. You have to be able to sell to yourself. What would make you buy something? So whatever that is, use that to get your customers, reel them in. You need to use what they have and use what you know about yourself to get them in. If you know that that's your customer, that's your target market, then that's who you need to target. I know. I was working sewing clothes, making soap, going to the club, coming home, taking kids to school. Like, it's a lot. Everybody is not, entrepreneurship is not as easy for some people. Some people have to say, okay, I don't have anything else to do, I'm gonna do this. Okay, I'm just in college, I could do this. Okay, I'm just doing this, I could do that. But some people have a regular life that they're trying to, in their spare time, they're trying to work out these business things. And that is why I am here, so I can help you to figure out not the shortcuts, but just how to make things a little bit simpler, because being an entrepreneur is tough. And I've been doing this for 11 years, and I'm still learning, and I'm still growing, and you're always growing. So that's what I'm here for. So let's see what else I have in here. You want your products to be consistent all the way through. So whatever your products is, you want your labels to look similar. So if you need to have a template of all of your labels, or the way, once you are so happy and you are in love with your label and you are in love with your aesthetic, then you want to make sure that you continue that in every single product. So all my products kind of have, they all look the same, they're all irrelevant. If you put them together, they're all cohesive, they all match up. So that's what you want your labels to be. Most of my clear labels, like I said, I got the border around it. I know I have my logo. I have the product itself. I have the type of product that's in bold, and then I have the flavor, the scent of the product in script at the bottom, and then everything else is basically the same. The font, the information is different, but the fonts everywhere is basically the same. What should you put on your labels? So this is the information that you must put on your labels, with the exception of candles. So if you have your labels, you want to make sure that, not if you have your labels, but on your labels, you want to make sure that you have your logo. Your logo is visible. So you want that, you can put that wherever you want. I put mine in the center at the top of my label, but you can put it on the side, you can put it in the middle. You can put it wherever you decide that you want to put it. So your logo should be there, your product name should be there, ingredients should be in there, and it should be in ascending order. Descending order. So whatever one has the most, you put first, and whatever has the least, you put at the end. All of your ingredients, before we used to have to put them in the INCI terms, but now we don't. They kind of have it so that you can put them in regular layman's terms. When you have them in regular layman's terms, regular people can understand what you have in your ingredients. If you put them in the INCI, sometimes you don't even understand what you're reading. Like shea butter is, I forgot what it is, but it's not shea butter. And then you have to put shea inside, and it's just confusing to your customers. And if you confuse them, you lose them. You don't want to confuse your customers. So your ingredients have to be in there. Your weight, so the weight of your product should be at the bottom, and it should be bold so people will know what how much is in the container. Your address, or you can put made in Pennsylvania, made in wherever you're from, or you can put I'm from Milford, so I could say Milford, Pennsylvania, and the zip code, you can do that. It doesn't necessarily have to, especially if you're working from home, does not necessarily have to be that physical address. Or if you have a virtual address, you can use that. Or P.O. Box, you can also use that. I'm going to download this replay. You have great info. Thank you. I should have put captions so you can see it, but my accent, or, that never picks up, so it always has my words wrong going across the screen. So you also you have your contact information, and you want to put your socials on there, and you want to put your website. So you want to be able to say, this is where you can find me. So at your company's name on Instagram, wherever you're on Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, all that stuff, you can put those little icons on your label. I wouldn't go too far as putting like 1 million of them there. I would probably put 3 is tops. You know what I mean? Your website, your Instagram, and whatever other social media you use the most. That's what I would use. So if Facebook is something you use the most, then put Facebook. If Snapchat is what you like to use the most, then put Snapchat. What else? Okay, and just make sure that everything is easily read, and you'll be good. Again, make sure that when you're designing your label, keep in mind scaling up. That means making your logo bigger or smaller. You always want to make sure that you have good resolution. You also want to make sure that you can see it, is understandable, is visible at all times. All right, so now I have we can talk about the labels. So if does anybody have, that's all I wanted to address with the branding, because I wanted to let you know how branding ties into your labeling, and also what branding is and what it's not. If you have any branding questions, please put them up now, and I will answer them before we get into the next step. The next step, I'm going to show you how to design your labels, what do you need to measure out your labels, and just where to go with it from here. So I can actually go by, I could take one of you guys and I could put your label up here. I can do a demonstration with your labels. Thank you so much for doing this live. Please replay. All right, it's gonna be a pretty long live, but I'll keep it up. I'll keep it up, so just in case you miss something, you can go back and write it down. And I want it to be super easy for you to do. Does anybody, I don't know if I can go live with somebody. Can I go live with somebody on Facebook, YouTube? If not, I can just talk to you in the chat, and then I'll just add whatever it is into the label. So if you have any questions about the branding, please ask now, and then I can address that, and then we can go on to the next thing. Thank you for giving advice even to those who are in the same market as you. So many times. Right. And that's the truth, because I had to learn that. And Martiniki, you know me, so yes, Canva does makes my labels blurry too, and that's why I use Maestro, or I design my labels directly from Silhouette, because it does, when you transfer it over, it looks clear in the program, but when you transfer it over to Silhouette, no matter what you do, it's always messed up. And like I said, when I'm going off of Martinique's comment, when people are doing the same thing as you always feel like, okay, we're in competition, but we're not in competition, because your customer is not my customer. You're hopefully not going to do the same thing I do. You're going to put your spin on something. When I started out, I wanted more people to be around so that I could learn from them. And there was a few people that I was able to learn from, but then there was other people that didn't want to help me or didn't want to show me anything. They're like, you got to learn on your own. I learned on my own, and we don't have to do that. If I can help you get a leg up, then you can help somebody else. Like Maya Angelou said, when you learn, teach. So that's what I'm doing. I'm teaching what I learned, so I can help then, the next group of people who's coming up after me, or who's coming up doing something different. Like you might come across something amazing that I've never even thought of, but you could take the same steps, the same tools, and use them the way you need them to be used. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be, my way is not going to be your way. You're not going to have to come up the same way I did. You're not going to have to learn the way I did, because when I learned, okay, so let me just take a break for a second. When I learned how to make bath and body products, what's going on with technology today is so much simpler than when I started. Soap was soap, and when I started, there was nobody really making pretty soaps. Karen was making pretty soap. She was making cupcake soaps, but she was like, there wasn't that many people that were doing that, and so also like bath bomb frosting. When we started doing bath bomb frosting, right now, bath bomb frosting can be made in a bubble bath. It can be made in like a whipped soap. It could be so many things. But when I started, bath bomb frosting was royal icing, and royal icing is sugar and water. That's what we were putting on the bath bombs. And then we were saying, okay, it's like a sugar scrub. If you soften it up, you can put it on your body. A, powdered sugar has no exfoliation. B, it's just pure sugar that you put it on your body. But like I said, no exfoliation. It doesn't really soften up. Royal icing gets hard, and it's super hard, which is great for a transit, but it's not good for your skin because it does not soften up. So you can't use it as a sugar scrub. So, products have evolved since then. So what you're learning now may be, different from when you teach it to somebody else. You know what I mean? So that they could use that information, because you need to know where everything started so that you know where you're going. Mariniki, because you're my sister. Thank you, everybody. So, so the evolution may be different for everybody. So, with that being said, when you learn something, you teach somebody something, and it could be something basic. Like, if I didn't learn how to use royal icing, I would never know how to pipe the way I pipe. If I never learned how to make soap a certain way, I would never know how to make soap the way I make soap now. So these are the things that you need. These are the things that you need along the way. If somebody just gave it to me, I wouldn't have understood. If somebody just told me how to do it, I wouldn't have got it, and I wouldn't have put my own spin on it so that I can learn to do something, or I could be innovative. And that's why, I'm doing what I'm doing, because you're going to take it, and you're going to take it somewhere special. And that may teach me something, and it may teach somebody who's trying to come up and trying to learn something too. Thank you, Martiniki. All right, so let's go into designing your labels. So first things first, you need a tape measure. And I'm going to flip my screen to my computer when we get to the label part. But first things first, you need your tape measure. I used to make clothes, so I have a clothes tape measure. So you want to measure out the size of your label, and you want to write it down. You also want to write down, you want a notebook that's going to be your notebook for all the things that you are going to do. So you want your notebook for your bottles, your jars, your labels, your sizing, your information that you're putting on the labels, where you're purchasing your products from. You want a notebook that has all of those things in it, because if somebody else has to work with you and you're growing, and you need people to help you out, they know, okay, so for her, let's say this is bath oil. So for her bath oils, we need to get these bottles from blah, blah, blah. They cost blah, blah, blah. The labels are about 2x3. I'm just making up a number. The labels are about 2x3. This is the information that's on the label. There's a mock-up of the label right here, just in case your laptop counts out, just in case Maestro goes out of business, or just in case there's some glitch and you can't get that label. So you can download your labels as a PDF, but if your computer crashed, then you can't get it. And if the Maestro crashes, you're not going to be able to get it from there. So you want to have a mock-up in your book. So in your book, you want to have all the information that you need, because you can always come back and look at your book. So with that being said, write that down. You need to know where you get your products from, not your products, where you get your supplies from, the labels that you're using, where you got your labels from. You want to know that. You also want to know the size of the label. You want to know the type of label. You want to know what you're going to put on the label, the fonts that you're using on that particular label. You want to know all those things. So you got that? Next thing, let's measure this out. So you want to use your workable space. You don't want to go too high up here, because if you go too high up here, your labels are not going to lay flat. So you want to make sure you have usable space that is flat, so it makes sure that your labels can fit correctly. So I would say my usable space in here would be a 2.5, because I'm not too close to the top and I'm not too close to the bottom. The bottom starts to go in at the sides. It starts to taper in at the sides. And so you don't want the label to touch right there, because it's not going to give you a nice flat adhesion. So let's say 2.5. That's what this label is. And then we also want to see how wide we want the label, right? So either you want your label to overlap, or you want it to just be just the front, or do you want it to touch each other with a little space in the middle? After you know that, let's say I don't like my labels to go all the way around. I like them to have some space. So I would say maybe 2.5 by 5, and this is where right here, 2.5 by 5.5 probably. 5 is good. 2.5 by 5. So it would be from here to here. I just came to that conclusion with social media, so I found a person to help my branding and social media. Yes. If you know that's not, you don't want to waste time doing something you're not good at, let somebody else do it. That is how you're going to be the most productive. Don't waste time in menial tasks that are not going to, if you plan on becoming somebody's social media guru, then and you can make money off of that somewhere later on down the line, then go ahead and learn all that stuff. But if you're not, then let somebody else handle that for you. Somebody who this is what they do. You know what I mean? So you measure out your size of your label, and then we'll just go into, let me switch. All right, so we're going to go into Maestro, and we're going to go into blank templates. In blank templates, you're going to find a label that is similar to the one that you want to use. I said, let's see what we have in the 2 inches. I said 2 by 5. So let's see if there is a 2 by 5. If not, and there's something similar, then I can use that. So we're going to 2 inches by 5. All right, so we have a 2 inch by 5 here. You want to double click on it. This is the orientation. If you want your label to be the long way, and I think I want it to be, let me see if 2 is good. I only make candles and learning how to make learning how wax melts, or learning her wax melts. 2 is a little small, but it could still go. So 2 would be right here. So that's still not bad. Yep. Hire them out, because that money will come back to you in the end. You'll be able to stay creative. All right, so we're going to flip this, and right here in view, you can go to rotate label and click that. So you know what? I can actually take one of your candles. Do you know your candle size? Let me see. Kara, are you making candles? Nubian Sunshine, you make candles. What are your label sizes? Or what's your jar size? All right, so this is my label. First thing I do, I put my logo in. And I did my design, my candle care cards in Maestro. So this is one of my candle care cards. Oh, can't do it. It's not gonna let me. It's gonna stay right there. But that's my candle care card. And I designed it here in Maestro. And I send it to Vistaprint. Alright, so here's my logo. And you want to make sure, if you are designing your label and your label is clear, you want to make sure that your logo is in PNG format, because in PNG that means you have a transparent background. You don't want a white background on your label, especially if it's clear, because you're going to have this odd white block in the center of your product. Adjust the size of your logo and wherever you want it. So I'm going to put this in the center. I'm going to line it to the center. That's where I want my logo. I'm going to go into shapes, because we are going to use the full sheet label. I'm going to take a square, because this is a square. If you wanted to do a circle, you just put a circle. And I take it the size of this label, so that when it cuts, it's as close, or when I cut it, it's as close to the sizing that I measured out. Make sure it's centered. I center it both ways. I could have just pressed this right here, center in the middle. Make sure it's centered both ways. You want to make sure that your border is thick enough so that you have a line to be your guide to cut. And if you wanted to make this thicker or thinner, You can do animated apps off of Canva. So if you are familiar with Canva, you can do animated apps with Canva. I mean animated ads with Canva. Alright, so if you want to make this thicker, I think I pressed it by accident. You change it right here. See right here where it says the width? You can make it thicker or you can make it thinner. It's up to you. Now, the main information that you need on here is the name of the product. So let's say the name of this product is body oil. We'll put body oil. Body oil. Now again, keep in mind that your fonts need to be visible, they need to be legible, and you need to be able to understand what it is. You don't want somebody to say, I need to put my glasses on to read which product is. So this is not my font. You can use what font works for you, whatever your font is. Does anybody here have a particular font? Again, put your particular font in here. Let's do, you know, people don't want to use something generic because they want to stand out, but generic shows. So let's see, let's use, this is something like Lush. So if this is your kind of feel, graffiti, young youth, if that's your audience, go for it. Let's say this is what it is. You want it to be bigger, make it bigger. You want it to be on one line, move that over. There you go. Boom. Put this in the center. Yeah, they have options. You can't just put anything there though. You can't just say, okay, I just want to call it olive oil or whatever. You know, there's certain things that you still have to put there, but you don't necessarily have to use the INCI names. And they gave us a pass with that. So this is the type of product. Below we're going to put the scent. And then you change that with a different font. So your main font is, you have to have your main font, your secondary font, and then your font that you have all of your information in. So things like an Arial font or Georgia font, those type of fonts would be your fonts that you put everything, you use everything in, like your ingredients, your instructions, your the amount of product that's in there. That's the font that you use here. Your main font will be the font that you use to put the main product. And then your secondary font would be the font that you use below that to say the scent, or if you have something that you want to put there, you put that there. So my secondary font, let's see what I'm going to use. Let's say we're going to use Playfair. And we're going to make that smaller. And I'm going to keep everything bold because you want to be able to see it. So let's say this is pina colada, or let's say chocolate. It's the same. Chocolate is the scent. You want to center this, right? And what I usually like to do is put a little separation here. So either I would put a box here and put a small little box there. Like if you want to separate it like this, you could do something like that. Add another little line here so that you could separate. So do you see that? You have your main font here, and again, this is just This is not anything that I'm going to use, but this is just basically giving you ideas on how to design your label. So you can move this any way you want. You want this to be lower, then put it lower. We're gonna move that down. Just don't want to move. There we go. Now what you want right here at the bottom in the center, you want to make sure that you put your measurements at the bottom. What is your font that you're going to use for everything as far as instructions, ingredients? It's got to be one of the simple fonts. Let's find something. Let's go to Baskerville. Oh, I like, this is what I like, BB's, because it's all caps and it's bold. So then we put a text box. That's too big, but this is still legible. You put how to use your product, whatever your information is. After shower, slather. That's it. You can put whatever you want there, however you want to use it. Move that over, change your size so that it fits. This is where I like to put, on the left side of my label, I like to put my instructions on how to use the product. On the right side, I like to put, on the right side, I like to put my ingredients. Put your ingredients. If you have a story that you want to tell, and just make sure that your stuff lines up, right? And if you have a story to tell and it's not too long, you can put it right here. So right here in this spot, you can put your story, because there's nothing else here. If I'm only going to put just the instructions on how to use it, this can be at the top, or it could be in the center, it could be at the bottom, it can be anywhere you want it to be, but you want to make sure that is, again, visible. Put that there, ingredients there. I put my social media and my website here at this corner. So, made in Pennsylvania. Move that over. I'll put that down at the very bottom. And then your website, always, 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 no exceptions, always goes on your always goes on your products. Move your website over there. And then you can put follow me. Follow me on, and this you can use your main font if you want to. What did I use? Permanent marker, I think that's the name of this. Yeah, right there. You can use this, give it a little character. Put that there, and then you can put your icons. And if your products have an expiration date or you got a use by time, then you can use one of these, and you use whichever applies. So if it's 6 months, 12 months, 3 months, 2, whatever the timing is, you just put that there. And then that can go right after your ingredients, but smaller. And then you can take your social media, make sure that you size it up properly. And then you can put that there. I didn't realize you could do all of this. Yes, you can, girl. You can do everything over here. Alright, so we're going to make that smaller. I usually like to keep it within the size of the box because, like I said yesterday, I have a problem with symmetry. And so something to be bigger than the other. Alright, so we got that. Bring that down. Alright, so this is it. Let's add some ingredients in here just to give it. Olive oil, sunflower oil, vitamin E, no, fragrance, vitamin E, period. Let's say that's what that's my thing. Let me move this out the way. This is not moving. Alright, there we go. So if you want this to be centered, then you just go into align, arrange, no, not arrange, align. You want to center it. That goes into the center. You want to center your ingredients. You go over here in the align over here and center your ingredients. Each one teach one, for real, for real. Thanks for reaching back to assist others. No problem, no problem. And then last one you want to put in there, you want to put, and we going with the main font. Our main font is BB, so we're going to go to BB. And we're going to say that's a 4-ounce bottle, so 4 ounces, and then you can do it in grams. And you put that in the center. Make sure this has to be visible. People have to be able to see this as well. They need to know the size. So you can say 4 fluid ounces if that's what you want to use. It's up to you what you're using. Want that to be in the center. Okay, so this is basically it. This is your basic label. You have your instructions in the corner. You have your logo. You have your border, so you know where to cut if you're cutting with scissors or if you're cutting with any utensil, any silhouette or Cricut. You know how to, you have an outline so that it can follow it, an easy guide. You have your ingredients. You have your main font with the type of product. You have your secondary font with the scent of your product. You have your third font with the ounces, ingredients, the how to use, and your ingredients. You also want to put, if it pertains to you, how long your shelf life is for your product, when it needs to be used. You want to put your social media on here. I use Instagram and Facebook the most, but you can put whatever your socials are. And then you want to put where it's made at, and you also want to put your website. That's the most important information that needs to be on your labels. Do not busy up your labels with too many things that doesn't need to be there. These are the key items on anything that you produce, anything that you create needs to be. These are the staple items that you need. Now, to save this, does anybody have any questions so far? Does anybody have any questions about labeling so far? Or do you have, I can actually do a practice label for somebody. If somebody wants me to do a practice label for them, we can do that as well. All right, so we're going to save this label, and I'm going to show you what we can do with this. So if you have Silhouette, I'm going to pull up a blank template. If you have Silhouette, download this. you want to export the design. Wait, I'm going to save it. No, I'm not going to save it first because this is not a label that I'm using. Single design, save that. We want to download it in an image file. I don't want to cut the die line because the die line will give me the outside of the label. And that's not what we're doing. We're doing the inside of, you know, that border we did. So we're going to go to JPEG. This is how we want it to be. Not a PDF because PDF does not come, it's not supported in Silhouette. And we're going to export the design. Exporting the design will bring it up right here. So what we're going to do is check and see if our label is there. And it is. And we're going to just bring this on over into Silhouette right there. And in here we're going to adjust the label to the size. So we said 2x5. Let's see what we are at. 11.11 by 4 by 74. So we're going to adjust our label size. But first let's, and this is not perfect because I see some things that I could fix here. But we're going to, from here, we're going to go to this little butterfly right here. This is your trace tool, right? Open the trace panel. And we're going to trace it. We're going to trace the label. What shows up is the whole entire thing, which is good, but sometimes the outline of your border doesn't come out really good, so you have to adjust your threshold to make it make sure that it fills in the whole border. We don't want all of this where it's highlighted. We don't want that to cut because it's going to mess up your label. You just want the outside of this cut. So we're going to just trace the outer edge. Alright, so we have the trace outer edge, and then let's see if we could, no. Now I'm going to trace it again because I want to detach the other part. So it's easier for us to put as many labels as we need to on the sheet. You want to maximize how many labels you can get off of this one sheet. Okay, so we're going to trace again. And I'm pretty sure there's an easier way, but this is the only way that I know how to do. So we trace the outer edge, and now we want to trace and detach, which is going to take away the white part of the labels, the outside of that label, right? So we're detaching that. You don't need this. We could delete it. So let's get rid of it, cut it. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to weld this whole label together. So that's going to bring together the cuts. Wait a minute, let me see. Or do I need to just group it? Nope, there we go. Okay. And now we're going to group the whole thing together. So when we move it, it moves as a unit. There it goes. Oh, I didn't have to group it. It just did it by itself. All right, so we said 2.5 by 5. So we're going to go 2. We're going to go to the top because sometimes when you're trying to cut this into size, it doesn't actually go to the exact size. So you'll be sitting there messing with it forever. We're just going to go up here. And we're going to go. This is the 2.5 part. So 2.50. And then this is supposed to be 5 inches. And then we press enter. And that's the size of the label. But if you want to go smaller, you definitely can make your label smaller. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see. This is a little distorted, so let me see something. Let me bring it over again. This is fine. We'll just go with this, and I'll tell you how to fix it. So we're gonna go over to send, and we just want to make sure that there's a red border around this label, so that way we know what's going to be cut. So am I able to zoom in? We can see right here what is going to be cut. That's exactly what we want cut. Nothing from the inside cut, just the outside cut. So when you copy and paste this, it's going to copy and paste it with the border around it, so that you don't have to do that other step that we did with the tracing, and you don't have to do that again. So we go to design. We're back in design, and go at the top to where this page is. This is your page setup. So you want to go into, these are your mats, but you're not using 12 by 12. We're using 8.5 by 5, 8.5 by 11, and we also want to put registration marks. The registration marks is going to tell the silhouette where to cut. So we want those on. And you want to maximize. Everything is maximizing, right? We're saving money here, right, guys? So we are going to move the inset over to the left side so that you have more space to work with. You want to make sure your length is all the way over, and you want to make sure your inset is all the way over. Thickness will change the size of the corners. So I don't remember what number is on, but that's fine. You don't want to put your label in the gray area. You do not want to put your labels too close to this line right here. I made the mistake of bringing, let me move this label, come on, label. It is doing its own thing. Okay, there we go. I made the mistake of putting it too close here, thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna save because, you know, the label is a certain width. It doesn't. The sensor gets confused and it doesn't know which line to pick up. So you want to make sure you are out of the gray area. Why is it doing this? All right. Make sure you are out of the gray area and away from that black line. Seven 14 ounces, 3-inch label. So you use a 3x3, Kara. And so now we play Tetris with the labels, and we see how many labels we can get on here. You may want to do it this way. You may want to put it here this way, sideways. Whichever way is going to work the best for you. Copy and paste it. And then you just fit them in. Stay away from the red lines. And make sure you give it a little space so that when it cuts, it can cut right there. Let me see if I move this over here. And then move this in there. 1, 2. All right. And I'll move this one over. All right. So fit them in there however you see fit. If it works best to have them horizontal, do them horizontal. If it works best to have them vertical and horizontal, if there is no right or wrong way to do this, as long as they fit in there. As long as your lines do not overlap, you can put them as close to each other as you want. So I'm gonna copy this. Now Instead of doing one by one by one by one, you don't necessarily have to do that. Although I think I could, let me see something. Oh, thank you. Let's see. Let's see if we, come on. All right, let me see if this fits in the space. If it does, oh, there we go. All right, so this fits here. Too many. So I'm gonna do some down this way, and then I'm gonna do them this way too. And like I said, just as long as your lines do not overlap, you're fine. You want to have just a little bit of space so that it can, you know, the sensor can recognize where to cut. 1, 2, 3. I might be able to get 3 on there. Let's see. No. Nope, doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get those, all of them there. So that if you have something that you do, maybe it's a scent or something, it's a long strip, you can put that down here so you could utilize all of your negative space. So if you have like maybe a little sticker, a little logo sticker or something that you want to put here, add that there so that you're not wasting space. All right, we need to fix that a little bit. All right, so as you can see, use as much of this paper as you can. I'm not ready to launch yet. Why aren't you ready to launch yet, Kara? What's holding you back? Let's copy that and paste this. All right, now like I said, if you have something to stick here, put it there. I'm going to print this on the Avery paper. I'm going to use the Avery, I can't even show you. I'm using the Avery matte paper, and this one is inkjet and laserjet compatible. And you can send this to the printer if you want to save this because you need it for future labels. Make sure you save it. And also you want to make sure you go to send to make sure you have those red boxes everywhere outside of your label. Because if you don't have the red boxes, that means it's not going to be cut. Let's print this. Make sure you put it on your printer that's ready. I use quite a few printers. I have my inkjet printer. I have my thermal printer that I print my shipping labels with. So I have quite a few printers in there. The printer that I use my inkjet is an HP Office Jet Pro 8710. Oh my gosh. And then I have, what is this one? Oh, it printed the wrong way. And I have my laser printer is HP. I have a thing for HP printers. HP LaserJet Pro M15A. That didn't print right. Now, a tip if you're using glossy labels. Now, like I said, matte flat paper might work good for you for your stickers. I particularly don't like it, but I am going to try to make some strips so I can make my scents on the outside of my candle boxes. All right. Laser jet. Let me see if it does this again. I think I have to go back into my settings. Now, remember I was telling you if you're using glossy labels, sometimes it is difficult for your sensor to pick up. My printer is stuck on my what you call it machine, the shipping labels machine. If I have to, I'm gonna have to print this right on my my other printer. Oh, I know what I did. I know what I did. Okay, let me read your comments really quickly. All right, which one do you want, Martiniki? You want the laser jet or do you want the inkjet? Labels and marketing help is needed. Plus, I wanted to get reviewed from. Yes, make sure you give it to everybody. You want everybody to give you some feedback. Every person that you know, you want them to give you feedback, but take it with a grain of salt because they're basically not going to be your customers, but they will give you the most honest opinions. Period. So, you don't necessarily, if somebody said they didn't like something or they didn't agree with something, like I said, take it with a grain of salt because most likely they're not going to be your customers. All right. I thought I was. The plan was to launch for Valentine's Day. Then I pushed it to Mother's Day. Now I figure realistically it will be by the end of summer. If you keep on pushing it, you're going to keep on pushing it. A year's going to go by, 2 years are going to go by, 5 years are going to go by, 10 years are going to go by, and you're not going to have done it. So you need to step out on faith and try it out for a second and see what happens. Yeah, I got 5 waxes. I only use 3 now. I went crazy. Are you happy with those waxes, Nubian Sunshine? Or those are the waxes that you feel like are the best that suits what you're doing? I use matte but use a shiny vinyl to cover it up to make it waterproof. Using glossy was not a friend to me. I see people do that. I think it's a waste to try to do it that way because you're wasting 2 labels when you could just be using 1. You want to revamp, then decided to just outsource those things. What do you recommend? They ain't gonna buy, and they're gonna always talk you down with your pricing. So yeah, those are not gonna be your customers. I could tell you that. My family is definitely not my customers. So whatever they have to say is I take it with a grain of salt, and then I give some products for them to try, and then I let other people try it. But then you have your family, and your family think that they're supposed to get everything for free. But most of the times I don't mind doing it, but sometimes. I use coconut soy for my regular candles, trying to figure out the proper wax for dessert candles. I have experimented with powdered soy. Clothes World, I do have a class on making dessert candles. If you are interested in that, I also have quite a few videos on here on how to make frosting and how to get your waxes to get your frosting together. Munbin. What is Munbin? I have not heard of that. I use ShipStation, and I have a Zebra thermal, or I think it's a thermal printer. I need to figure out how to type that. I already said. Okay, I'll check that out. Okay, wait. Let me go turn my other printer on. Because my laser printer is acting funny. Alright, so the tip with the glossy labels. What you want to do with your glossy labels are, if your registration marks are not being picked up on your silhouette or your cameo, you are going to take some plain white sticker paper, like the one that I got from Avery that I told you is about $20 for 100 sheets. You're going to want to cut that. You're going to figure out where your registration marks are, and then you're going to cut you're going to cut a few squares, and you're going to put this on your paper before you put it into the printer. So and these may be too big, but and I'm going to take a clear sheet, a clear glossy sheet right here, and I'm going to take the squares that I cut, and I'm going to take the backing off and put it right here. So when my printer prints the label where the registration marks, it'll be with the matte paper, so that the matte paper does not confuse the sensor, and the sensor get confused as to where to cut. This, the matte paper will keep it stable. So you just take it, take your sticker paper, and right in the corner, stick it there. But do it neater than I did, so it can line up, so you don't have it too much into your label. Do I have it? And Avery labels does not have the slit in the back, so that part works out if you are trying to make sure that you don't mess up your foil labels. Stick that there, and there's one more registration mark at the bottom of the page. Alright, it ain't coming up. So that's all you have to do, and that will help you with your registration marks, and help your silhouette or your Cricut to recognize your marks. Alright. Let me make sure it prints that the same here. Alright. Let's see. Print. So Carol, who told me about the candle labels? I wrote it down, the 3-inch. I think Carol, you said it, right? gave me your measurements for your candles. And then all you have to do, if you know how to work your silhouette or your Cricut, is you just send it to your cutter and find your medium. And our medium is sticker paper. So you're gonna press sticker paper. That's nobody going to the bathroom, that's water. Sticker paper, we want it to be cut. 2 might be good. I think anything other than that will be too forceful. Oh, ha! It printed right, but I put it on the wrong paper. It's in there. In the back. Alright, I have to get another one. Sorry, guys. And then I'm going to send it to the printer. And we'll send it to the cutter. And then we have labels. And then I can do a one-on-one with someone and we can do your labels. And I could walk you through it. And these are my ducks that I cut out. And we're going to put this on here. Make sure that you line up your label. This is not a silhouette mat. The silhouette mats are clear. I don't have any of those. I use the Cricut mats. So just make sure it lines up perfectly here against the line, because that also does matter when you're cutting. All right, and make sure it is there. And now let's see, I'm gonna send this over. And now we're gonna cut. Does anybody want to do a mock-up label of their candle or whatever? We can do that while that's cutting. If you're using your scissors, you can take your scissors and just cut the outline. Oh, sorry. Is it blowing enough? This is my nephew's note to me. He left me a note one day, and I put it on my computer so I never lose it. And I could see it every day. Alright, so if you cut your label, it would be something like this. And then you take your label. You want to check and see if that's the right size and that looks good, right? And then any other adjustments that you want to make, you make them. So if you know that you want your box to be wider, maybe you don't want a box. It doesn't have to be there. If you want to make your scent smaller, you can do that. You want to put something different here, you want it, your font to be smaller, you can make your font smaller, or whatever it is that you want to do. You can make adjustments from there. And then you just, once you're happy with your label, you just take it and you just put it on your products. And there you go. Yep. Okay. So I hope you guys, this class is a pretty long class, but I hope you guys have gotten a lot of value from the class. I can do a one-on-one, or we could actually do a separate live or a private live, and I could help you design your labels if you would like to do that while we're waiting for the printer to finish, the cutter to finish cutting up the labels. I love your ducks. Thank you. So simple but beautiful. I bought a wax seal like you, but the way tissue paper and folded precisely is amazing. Thank you. It all takes, it's just practice. It's just practice. And to do your wax seals, to save time, just do those ahead of time. I do mine ahead of time. All right, so my labels are done. Ugh. Let's see. They look good. Looks good. So peel them off. I didn't want them to be die cut, but it's okay. It's still cut all the way through. Here's your labels. But this one is, and this is not because of the cutter. It's because of the paper backing. That's because I ripped it off too fast. So this is your labels. You can actually do these, print up a bunch, send them through this silhouette, and just store these later so that you don't have to cut them every time you're doing a product. You can do these as you can cut them all at once and then do them as needed when you need to replenish. So with that being said, you just take all of these, stack these up, and put these away somewhere until you're ready. And you can do that with all of your labels. So if you have the same, like I said, if you make a template for yourself, you could just change the necessary things. So if it needs to change a little bit, you want to change this is not body oil anymore and this is a candle, then put candle. If you want to put the scent is not chocolate, change that. You want to change your instructions, change your instructions. You want to change your ingredients, thank you, babe. Change your ingredients. So you can use the same template if it's the same label on any product, or you can go into Maestro and it gives you an option to export your label. So you can export this same label into a bigger, smaller label that fits your needs, and it'll be the same template. It'll just move things around because the label will be bigger or smaller, and you just have to move it into place and configure it. But that's basically it. And so this class was a little long-winded, but you basically have everything that you need. I think I gave you everything that you need. I gave you all of the information that needs to be on your labels so that you don't make them too busy. The thing that you need, you definitely need your main font, your secondary font, your basic font for your instructions, your ingredients, and your measurements. What else do you need? Your logo. Make sure that your logo is legible. Make sure that if you scale up or scale down, you can still see it. Let's see. Make it so effortlessly. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it wasn't effortless when I started. Believe me, I've been doing it for a long time, and since I have so many different products and I change with the season, I don't want to keep asking somebody to make something. So if I know that it's something easy like my candles, all I have to do is switch out the scent. All I have to do is switch out the measurement. So that's basically it. I love. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope it wasn't too long. It's 3x3s online label, but the foil didn't translate in real life as well as it did in my head. Okay, so Kara, let's get on the live. I did get compliments, but I still didn't care for the look. I enjoyed the class. Thank you, Martiniki. So I'm going to end the live, and Kara and Nubian Sunshine or anybody in here who wants to go in a private live session with me, we can go live and I can walk through your label with you. So last time I cut off the video before I got to answer the questions. So I want to make sure that I answer your questions before I log off because I might miss them. And I couldn't read the chat for some reason. Thank you so much for joining us, Zaza. We will be back on I will be back on tomorrow at 7 o'clock with a new class. I'm not exactly sure if we're going to make products, or we're going to work on packaging. But I will figure that out for tomorrow, and I will post it up. If you're not signed up for your notification, please do so. Get your notifications on. Hit the notification bell. Also look for my post because I will post what the class is going to be about. But it's definitely going to be live at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So that is it. I gotta get familiar with the YouTube live. Oh, it's okay. I'll keep it stored. I'll keep it saved so that you can catch it the next time or when you have time to watch it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Again, Kara, Nubian, Chloe, if you want to go live to design your labels live, send me a message and or just go onto this video and leave me a comment and then I'll go live with you guys. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you. And everybody have a great night.